Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for November 3rd, 2019. With your host, Fourze2448, and Ramp It Up Salon.
Hi.
Won't we have daylight savings time happen in the middle of us doing this?
No.
Oh wait, no, was that?
Yeah.
It was last night.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I thought it was tonight, not last night.
Not last night. Well, technically, like, what, 2 or 3 a.m. or something like that.
Crap, that means I have to fix my watch.
Wait, you managed to go all day and not realize that?
No. Yeah, I just like, cause like my computer would update automatically, but like nothing else I have would have like been an hour behind for like no reason for me to notice, except my watch. And it's not like I went anywhere today for me to pick up my watch and look. The thing is, I'm not in school anymore, so like my watch is less important than it was before. Hi, Charizard.
I can understand that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's also going to be like my first Christmas where I'm not in college. Which means it's the first time I don't have to like drive back home for like Christmas break and Thanksgiving break, like back-to-back months. For reference, it's a 3-hour drive back home and an hour drive back up to the college because of time zones.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that to people without any mention of the time zones, and some people would like, wait, what? What do you mean? How is it 3 hours there and an hour back?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Time does not work that way. And then I'm like, no, it does. It's called crossing time zones.
Because you lose an hour going one way and gain it going the other.
Yeah. Yep, we are talking Fourze. Weirdly enough, we're like halfway through Fourze. Just about. We're about at the halfway mark.
Now, wait a minute. Didn't I change that? I know I changed that.
What?
The stupid bottom text refused to stay.
Oh, no.
Like, I had the... Okay, I'm gonna check something. Okay, no. Yeah, I did... Okay, whatever. Okay, OBS. Whatever. I'm not arguing. I don't know what happened, but I fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
Good enough.
Yeah, we are like halfway through Fourze, just about. And we are... I guess we're like entering the cancer arc, I guess? The Crabman arc? Because the last 4 episodes, I guess, are the Meteor introduction arc, and this is, I guess, technically the start of Crabman being center stage villain-wise for the series for a little bit. It feels
being
weird.
Center stage, aka more than likely first one to die.
I mean, yes. Unfortunately, we will get some really good stuff out of him in the process, but yeah. And it feels weird to say cancer, so I'm probably just going to call him Crabman. In the notes, I have it as Crabman for most of it.
It might be better, yeah.
Yeah.
But it is kind of funny that, you know, when we went through Wizard with TGSR before the change, we kind of had the later in the show villain get introduced and wind up technically being the last one to die. So the fact that I called that out the opposite way for this was kind of funny.
Yeah, and like just to spoil it a little bit, he will not survive past Meteor's form change.
Wow.
Yeah, Meteor's form change will be the thing that takes him down. Also, I have to deal with my dog real quick, so I'll be right back. My dog has to take his midnight strolls.
Ah.
Yeah, Fourze has... He honestly has some pretty good suit designs. Oddly enough, it's just one of those cases of like when you get to Meteor Tedesco fusion states with goddamn skis and double rockets, it's just a what the fuck? That is Nadeshko. If you roll back to when we talked about Movie Tyson Megamax, we talked about Nadeshko. You will also hear us talk about her again once we're done, because she returns from Movie Tyson Ultimatum. And gets to be the rare instance of a living female writer in this franchise, because this franchise loves to kill off female writers for no goddamn good reason.
Yeah, and I hope the trend is broke with 01.
I am so tired of those jokes, because I don't find them funny. I just find them obnoxious.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. Just because we don't know of any kind of upcoming form changes for 01 does not mean death.
Yeah, it does not mean that, and just because it's the X8 writers does not mean that like someone's dead at the end of December.
Well, okay. I'm gonna go a step further there. Even if we did go on the limb and assume they were dead, look at X8. We literally had 2 dead writers that came back later in the series.
To be fair, one of those was never meant to come back.
It happened though.
I know. Dan was like weirdly enough for as popular as is, Dan was not meant to return. Through sheer force of will, he returned. No, that's not Yuki. Yuki did not become a writer. She became an astronaut, but she did not become a writer. No, Nadeshko is sentient space magic goo that can replicate stuff. So she essentially replicated the Fourze driver and gave herself a writer form.
But yeah, like I was saying about 01, just because even if we did agree that death might be coming, that doesn't mean they have to stay dead.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna be honest, like the toy scans already implied that like Valkyrie is surviving past December, because it said that 5 heroes will witness this Dowser's debut. Guess what? Dowser doesn't debut till next year.
I think what's more believable is that whole falling into tertiary rider spot and basically being jobber.
Yeah.
Which will suck, but at least she won't be dead.
I am fully expecting that like later in the show, they will probably pull like a laser turbo situation and give her like maybe she gets the assault trigger after like everyone moves on past it in like a super late game situation.
So kind of like how they did Go and Drive kind of deal with Dead Heat.
Pretty much. Yeah, like with Dead Heat, like I said, Laser and the Proto Armors. Trying to think what else. Oh yeah, Flaming Tiger is really good. The Progrise keys have been really good sound-wise and form change-wise. Like, it is amazing how good the forms are. Consistently.
Yeah. Like, I don't think there's one form change so far that is like, eh. They all actually flow really good and fit into the show.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, I like that all three of our different belts give a very different aesthetic. And I like them all.
Yeah.
I will say, if you like the forms and stuff, I highly encourage Soto as someone who has AI01. They're really good. As a nice, cheap, like, do you want all of 01's form changes in some type of articulated figure form? That fucking Soto will do that for you. Like, we will already be caught up on all of 01's form changes outside of 001 by the next wave. We will only be missing, like, at the time of its release, more or less, like, 3 forms outside of, like, the Shining Hopper assault trigger situations. And it's Lightning Hornet, Jin, and Hirobi. And, well, and Breaking Mammoth, but I'm fully expecting that to be its, like, own set with the Rise Hopper. I like Mammoth. I'm gonna be sad when it's only used, like, 3 more times, but I like Mammoth. I'm gonna miss it when it's gone. Because I'm one of those people that like the mech forms just for an aesthetic point of view. Anything else for 01?
I can't think anything right offhand.
Yeah, we don't have a new episode to talk about because Ryder and Sentai are on break this week, so tune in next week when I believe it's confirmed we're seeing the person behind Ames at the moment. So the shadowy figure that has been more or less funding Ames, who is more than likely the CEO of Zaya. And as I saw in the scans, Mr. Assassin's getting an upgrade.
That's gonna be interesting.
Actually, if you'll notice, it's not the whole ship that beams down the robots. It's only the front. It's only the back part of it, not the front ring part. The ring part stays and it beams down the ship.
Which makes me wonder, how is that going to play into possibly future form changes?
Yeah. Granted, they've kind of lampshaded that aspect of the satellite because the one that's in the water is only the ring. There's none of the other parts on it. Or there's none of the other mech stuff like in the surrounding debris. It's just the ring, so they kind of already foreshadowed. Yeah, no, the ring's the only important part. The rest of it's just there for a thing that I'm sure was in production at some point for hidden intelligence, but Zaya was the only one that moved forward with it. Or tried to move forward with it. Anywho, shall we talk Fourze?
I guess we shall.
Alright, we're talking episodes 21 through 24 this week. More or less the introduction of Crabman and an arc that I completely forgot was in this series, because for reference, this is my second watch through of Fourze. This is the first time for Tommy on this one. So I remember most of the series, but I forgot about this like the next set of episodes we're going to be talking about, or the next like pair of episodes besides the first two we're going to talk about. And it kind of made me go, oh, this comes back later, kind of. Mechanically speaking, it comes back later. But these episodes originally debuted February 5th, 12th, 19th, and 29th of 2011, our February batch of episodes. Any thoughts going in?
No.
All right, then. We're going to kick things off with episode 21, Misled Course. We drop in with a fire alarm going off and the students, like, leaving their classrooms wondering what the fuck's going on, and Asugi dropping by to pretty much say, hey, it's a false alarm, don't worry about it. I can't help but empathize with that as someone who went to a high school where the fire alarm was a fucking goddamn annoyance after a while. I would say watch along if you feel like catching up. It's been a really good series. Asugi ends up wanting to pull Gentaro away and blame him for it because Gentaro. But really, he's just lonely because Sonata's gone, and as we'll find out, is retiring. So we have a replacement now. And her name's Haruka, and she is played by Toku alumni Nao Nagasawa. If you don't recognize that name, she is Hurricane Blue in Hurricaneger, and a number of other roles like this, where she is more or less a part of the side, part of the recurring cast members for like several dozen shows. You'll remember her from Double, actually. She's the magician's assistant in Double.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is not, for those wondering, this is not uncommon for Toku alumni to be picking up smaller roles like this. If they really like working with Toei and stuff, they'll often just be called back to go, hey, can you play the real quick role for us for like a few episodes? And like I said, she's not the only returning alumni. Kamen Rider Garen is playing one of our main villains, Libra. Anywho, she's introduced. She's the new homeroom teacher replacing Sonata, and she already wants to quit. Yeah. We'll get to him in a second. He is quite literally a crab man. But yeah, she's pretty much already like wanting to quit, and I guess she's walking off. Hayame quietly just smack talks the group before walking off as well. Actually, no, she doesn't leave. She just sticks around. Hayame leaves, but when Asugi tries to like get Haruka's attention, he almost gets a kick in the head in a very red herring kind of way, because we are going to lampshade the fuck out of this very specific looking weird kick of hers with accompanying sound effects to make a very big red herring.
Yeah.
Maybe too hard of a red herring.
Yeah. I felt like they did that just a little too blatant, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. Because later on that day at night, a horse Zodiarch, specifically Pegasus, attacks a bunch of martial arts guys, and she mimics Haruka's kick down to the accompanying sound effects, leading you as a viewer to believe, yes, Haruka is the Pegasus Zodiarch. Maybe. Spoilers. She is in fact not Pegasus.
Not at all.
No. And that's our cold open. Coming out of it, Ryusei's back at the hutch alone, because Gen, Yuki, and Kengo are off doing course guidance. More
Rewind a few seconds, sir.
what?
Just rewind what you said a few seconds.
Oh,
sir.
okay. Ryusei's back at the hutch alone. Thanks, Discord.
I don't think it's Discord. I honestly think it's that browser plugin on OBS.
That would not surprise me, to be honest.
So I'm going to try to fix something up here.
Thanks, browser plugin on Discord. Appreciate it.
Because I think it may be something with it not doing right with sounds.
Probably.
I'm going to try it this way and see. Okay. Right now it's working, so we'll see.
Alright, so... Okay, so, like I said, coming out of the cold open, Ryusei's back at the hutch alone, because Kengo and Yuki are off doing course guidance with Haruka. They end up reviewing the footage of the horse of Pegasus attacking at night, and they're going to start investigating. Meanwhile, Haruka more or less coasts through all of the course guidance for all three of them because she don't give a fuck. She's like, you got your shit figured out. You got your shit figured out. You got your shit figured out. I don't fucking care. I literally just got hired, and I already want to leave. To be fair, at a school with regular monster attacks, I don't blame her.
Yeah. And you have to wonder if she knew about the monster attacks beforehand, or if they just kind of, kept that quiet.
Well, considering Gamao, whammied a couple of cops last week, I'm gonna say it's been kept quiet. Genjiro ends up being the last one to go through it, and he tries to befriend her, but it doesn't work, and he gets almost kicked for his efforts because the Haruka's kick apparently has accompanying wind effects that muck with his hair.
I mean, of course.
Yep. Meanwhile, Pegasus is attacked by Libra, who's in disguise as a martial arts lady who is totally not doing a Sentai reference, I think. I feel like she's doing a Sentai I honestly thought she was a Sentai actress because she's dressed in a pink tracksuit and she's pulling a very Sentai fight pose. But I think she's just on the stunt team, I think. Because I was checking through a couple of through the guest star list and seeing okay, is anyone here alumni outside of now? As it turns out, the Metal Dopant shows up here in a bit.
Oh then.
Yep, he's one of the kickboxing guys. Otherwise, yes, it is a bunch of the stunt team, more or less just playing bit roles as they do their thing out of suit for once. Anywho, after the attack, Libra tries to figure out who Pegasus is because he didn't hand Pegasus a switch. So we have a rogue Zodiarch this week. And Pegasus bolts because he doesn't feel like talking. Oh, did I cut out Charizard or what?
I think you did.
Okay, I just see the question mark in chat, and I'm like, what are you having a question mark about?
Yeah, I don't think anything's messed up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the team does come across this attack or this fight, and Ryusei ducks off to be Meteor real quick and joins the fight. And Libra ends up leaving at this point because he's like, I ain't dealing with the two of you at once. So Ryusei has to fight Pegasus alone, and they're pretty even for the most part. When Gentro finally arrives, he gets to try out Claw on the horse Orphanok. Oh, the stunt team are usually the ones doing the suit acting. So, like, when you see the various riders and monsters in suit, that's the stunt team. That's the suit actors. And some of those people, like, get to be out of suit for once. Because they're the stunt team. Like, Seiji Takaiwa, he has a fairly reoccurring role in Ghost. Out of suit. As just playing a role of a Genma soldier in Ghost. And Marika, her actor, she started as a suit actor. And coincidentally enough, she even did her own suit acting in suit for Marika.
That's what I was wondering then.
Yeah, she did all her own stuff in suit and out of suit for that character. Because she started as essentially on the stunt team.
I guess that makes sense though.
Yep.
You already know what you're doing, might as well just do it.
Yeah. That's what I meant by that, is that, yeah, some of these people are used to doing the acting and stuff, but more just the pantomiming. And actually some of the lines too, because I believe they do all of the line work in suit as well. Yes, that is the Peach Energy Girl from Gaim. Yeah, she's a stunt actor. She started in stunt acting before she got to play a major role on screen. Yeah, I believe they also even do the lines, even like when it's just the the suit actors and stuff. So they're used to delivering lines and stuff, I would assume. I don't know to what degree, but I believe they're used to it. Anyway, like I said, Gentro is trying out Claw on horse, and even quotes Edgy with his Siya, which I didn't catch the first time through.
Don't feel bad because I didn't catch it, actually.
Yeah, when I was looking through the wiki for notes and stuff, that's when they had the note of like, hey, Gentro like mimics Edgy's Siya when he uses Claw, and I'm like, going back through watching it for the notes, I'm like, oh, he does. That's cute. That's not the only reference to a previous writer he's teamed up with. But they ended up tag teaming Pegasus until Gentro gets a kick, a la that same kick that we're dealing with the entire 2 episodes. So that happens. Pegasus leaves. Ryusei leaves as well, and he gets questioned a little bit by the group over him like running away every time a fight happens. And he tries to brush it off. It's like, oh, I'm a coward, even though that's not the case.
Even though I love the fact that in almost every fight scene, Gentro winds up making some kind of a comment that it's like, yeah, you know the truth. You just aren't willing to spill it on him right now. You want him to be the one to say it.
Yeah, he wants Ryusei to come forward that he's Meteor. Anyway, we cut to Kamau wanting some answers on who Pegasus is, and pretty much tasked Libra to finding that out. Since he lost the switch when Gentro attacked him in between episodes when he was trying to get another student to become a horoscope. Or not a horoscope, Zodiac, my bad. We're not dealing with the horoscope just
yet. Technically.
Yeah. Eventually. Also during the fight, they managed to find a fan that Jake and Ryusei are going to be going to investigate. While Gentaro, Yuki, and Tomoko are off to investigate Haruka, since Gentaro noticed the kick and he's made the connection already.
Even though, unfortunately, his connection-making skills this time don't do him justice.
He's being played, unfortunately. But before Gentaro leaves, he gets the board switch because we got to crank out these switches since we're at 36 by the end of these 4 episodes, and we got to get the 40
pretty soon.
Yeah, and by soon I mean like 10 episodes or so.
Yeah, but I think didn't we kind of just stall around Magnet States?
Yeah, we stalled out for Magnet States, and then now we're kind of picking back up to get those last 9 switches out. Anywho, Jake and Ryusei are off to the local Rakugo club to figure out whose fan it is, since they have those style of fans. I know I was taught what Rakugo was, but I can honestly not remember it. I would have to go dig up my Japanese. I'd have to actually go either dig up my Japanese textbook or my Japanese notebook and refer to it. I believe it's wordplay. It's a lot of wordplay, which sounds very normal for Japanese comedy, but I believe that's kind of it. I think it's like old school narration for them, if that makes sense. I'm sure it doesn't make a lick of sense.
I mean, that's what it kind of seemed like, the way they were playing it into the episode, so maybe?
Like Kaku Ranger's narrator does all of his narration in this style, like at the beginning and end of episodes for that series.
And
like I said, this isn't like super uncommon. Anywho, while they're investigating that, Gentaro and his group managed to track down Haruka at a local kickboxing club. Some random guy who I don't believe is the Metal Dopant. I think he's just someone else, probably someone on the stunt team. Tries to get them to hook up. All of them try to hook up. Blah 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 blah.
Words.
Blah. Yes, words. He tries to get the group to join the gym, and both Gentaro and Yuki like say no, but Tomoko actually squares up with him.
Forcing
but he's like,
him
no.
to then say no.
No, I am not taking this poor small child. Haruka's in the gym, or in the ring at the gym, practicing, and gets to have a conversation with Gentaro, more or less brushing them off because she'd rather follow kickboxing than teaching. She wants to quit already and just take up kickboxing because she's far more interested in that. And Gentaro more or less is just like, hey, can you do that kick again? I need to make sure that you're the one doing those kicks to me. So he gets kicked out one more time. Well, again, not one more time. He's going to get kicked again, for real, by Haruka soon. But that's going to more or less confirm his suspicions. Meanwhile, Shun has been talked into being bait by Miyu, because this is how their relationship is. Still making him re-earn that relationship status. But the bait does work. Pegasus is drawn out, and Shun just draws him to a fight with Kentaro. So Kentaro and Pegasus fight it out for a little bit. And Kentaro manages to get a good shot in with Magnet States after Ryusei ducks off, transforms, and joins in. Which, weirdly enough, is a plot point.
Yeah.
But this caused Pegasus to run, so Ryusei gives chase on his bike, and Kentaro uses winch and board to just hop a ride onto the back of the motorcycle, even though he has his own motorcycle. I don't know why this was necessary, but it happened.
I guess they just didn't want to have the... I guess they just didn't want the motorcycle to come out of nowhere, plus they had to use the switch for some reason.
Yep. Also, as a reference at this point, a very interesting piece of insert music starts playing. It's called Perfect Game. It is a Fourze insert piece, but it originates from the Climax Heroes game for Fourze, because that's the theme for that game. Which is a weird case of, here's an insert theme for a completely different piece of writer media being used in the show. And this will not be the only time Perfect Game is used in Fourze. Which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Anywho, while they're chasing after Pegasus, Virgo shows up, drops off some minions so they can have a quick fight scene to the tune of Perfect Game. And they manage to take them all out. And Kentaro manages to catch up to Pegasus, beats him down, and Pegasus reveals his identity as Haruka through dialogue. Bear in mind, he does not show who he really is. And I'm also keep referring to Pegasus as he, as the show also does, I think, the entire time. Which actually ends episode 21 and takes us into episode 22, True Self-Dismissal. Meteor ends up getting a good punch in on Pegasus directly in the ribs, which I'm sure hurts like hell since he did the whole 5-inch punch Bruce Lee thing.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, that will also come.
Gotta love Meteor sometimes.
Yep. Also, that will come back later. Remember that. And also remember what it's going to do. Remember what it did here, because it will do more later. But before Pegasus can be attacked more, Virgo takes him and leaves. And all Meteor gets is a feather for his efforts in this fight. So he leaves. Kentaro, feeling more like just like he has solved this mystery, is going to go off to confront Haruka, which we also can check in real quick, showing that she is injured in the exact same spot that Meteor punched on Pegasus. Once more, showing some more red herrings, and I'm just going to call them red herrings off the bat. Meanwhile, Hayame checks in with Virgo and finds out that Virgo is taking over looking after Pegasus, and he's more or less being treated as a regular Zodiac now by Gamao for really good reasons, as we'll see. That's our cold open coming out of it. Natsuki, who's the president of the Rocket Club and was the one that gave the information on the fan to start with from the last episode, gives them a tell about Haruka when she's lying. But coincidentally enough, his watch is about an hour or so slow. Daylight savings time is not in play, for reference. And this is also a plot point. Kentaro, when he's confronted by Asugi, asking him, what'd you tell Haruka for her to, not come in to work today, besides the feign being sick, and runs off to go confront her. Meanwhile, Ryusei's off to and go investigate the feather because there was a time and date and location on the feather. Because space magic, I guess. Back at the gym, Gentaro gets into a bit of an argument with the regular people before Haruka breaks it up. She ends up showing the exact tell that Natsuki was talking about. So Gentaro tries to talk her out of the switch, and she denies everything because she has no idea what nonsense he's talking about, which leads them into a bit of a sparring match. And we cut between this and Ryusei fighting Virgo, because Virgo is happily scouting out Meteor at the moment. Unfortunately, Gentaro gets KO'd for his trouble by Haruka. He gets the full kick to the face this time, with protective gear, mind you. So, not directly to his head, like it would do that much.
I mean, yeah.
Also, Ryusei more or less can't hurt Virgo, so he's gonna need a form change at some point. So after proving that he can't handle Virgo, Virgo just leaves. This is like, you're not strong enough. Bye. But Gentaro gets woke up by the gym folks and tells Haruka, hey, drop by tomorrow for class. We're having some course guidance for you tomorrow. Which she does, finding Gentaro already transformed as Fourze. And I love her reaction of just slide the door back and just walk away and just pretend I didn't see anything. Only for Gentaro to call her back, and it's just like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? More or less, Gentaro keeps telling her to give her the switch. And as we find out, she does have a switch. It's the switch for the fire alarm that she kicked off the goddamn wall. Meaning she's not Pegasus. Oops.
I mean, technically he was right. She did have a switch.
Yeah.
And I mean, he did get her to give that one up.
Yeah. So Gentaro ends up having to apologize to Haruka. But he does help sort through her issues of not feeling like she's a teacher. But Gentaro, using friendship wisdom, more or less goes, hey, I'm on these two different paths at the moment, but they'll become one eventually. And hey, you're on two different paths. It'll work out. Don't give up on them.
Wisdom at its finest.
Yep. Meanwhile, the club is trying to figure out who is Pegasus at the moment, and some comments from a couple of the club members more or less lead Ryusei to figuring out, oh, it's Natsuki, because he got hit by the magnet storm, his watch got set back an hour, and he's been the one leading us on this wild goose chase after Haruka. It's him. It has to be him. So they go confront him at a Rakugo event, and he starts denying everything when they keep bringing stuff up, but eventually he just pulls out his switch, it goes last one, he pushes it, and Gentaro has to go fight Pegasus. But Ryusei is stuck being able to transform because no one's going to leave him alone for 5 seconds. Which I do have to wonder, we see how Ryusei has to transform with the whole satellite beaming down the suit and stuff to him.
Yeah. Does no one see this?
Apparently, he's just behind a very tall building every time.
I mean, most of the times, yes. That actually has been the case so far. But, not all.
No. So yeah, with Ryusei unable to transform. Gentro's on his own. He's not doing well in the fight until Haruka drops by. They do the whole friendship handshake thing, and she more or less walks him through kicking this guy's ass by essentially teaching Gentro some quick kickboxing lessons. Which, for reference, yes, Haruka is a trained martial artist, I believe, so she can, in fact, whip ass. It also helps that I believe both of these episodes and the next 2 episodes were directed by Sakamoto, so everybody gets a fight scene.
You get a fight scene, and you get a fight scene.
So yeah, after Gentro hands Pegasus his ass, he goes running to a warehouse where Gentro gives chase with his Segway switch and stealth, and just kicks Pegasus' ass some more, and eventually takes him down with magnet states, which unfortunately doesn't last that long because he reverses the explosion and suppresses the last one state. And with his star glowing and Virgo dropping off his body, we see him evolve from Pegasus into Cancer, aka Crabman. So we have a new horoscope in play. And Virgo takes him and books it. And our team is left to more or less ponder the fact that we have a new commander on the field. Natsuki is pretty much welcomed in the ranks. It's more happens in the next episode, but I think we get a quick scene at the end of this one. Excuse me.
I can't remember that offhand.
But we end the episode on Haruka starting a kickboxing club at the school and talking Gentro into helping. So Gentro, once more, busy helping everybody at the school. And that's half our episodes for the week. So how'd you feel about these 2?
I mean, I kind of am mixed on how I feel about the way they super misled everyone.
Yeah.
But I mean, outside of that, I thought it was pretty good to, I guess, in all intents and purposes, see the team technically lose.
Yeah.
Because even though this isn't a loss, this kind of is.
Yeah, because Crabman is on the field now. We're +1 horoscope when we were neutral on horoscopes for now, so it's piss. Although, yeah, it's a loss all around because Ryusei doesn't even get Aries like he wants.
Yeah.
Which, the twist about Aries, there is some irony to him looking for Aries.
I'm gonna guess it's not gonna do what he wanted it to do, right?
Not that. No. Different kind of irony.
Hmm.
But no, I like these 2 episodes outside of the very obvious, this is the twist. We are totally fucking red herring, fucking lamp, neon signing, lamp shading the fact that Haruka is in fact not is in fact the horoscope so hard that it's going to be the case that she's not the horoscope because it's too obvious. But anything else before we move on to the second half?
No.
All right, then. We kick off with episode 23, Swan Alliance. We see some goons steal some lady's bag, only to be stopped by Notsieg from Den-O. It is a Zodiart. Kyknos is what he's calling himself. I don't remember what the proper Zodiart constellation is. I'm just going to refer to him as Kyknos, because that's what he keeps calling himself. I think it's Cygnus is the constellation.
I think so.
But yeah, he is a new hero in town, and according to the gossip that we see the next day from various students, he's a big old hero that Gentro initially confuses with himself because, you know, they're both white in suit design. But they get the information on him from one of his fan club members, Nario. And I can't help but find it funny that this guy's name is Nario. But yeah, they get information on him, and Gentro gets really curious about him and wants to go to his fan club. So him, Ryusei, Yuki, and an arriving Tomoko at the time, because she's not in class when this happens, all get dragged off, or all go to this fan club. Tomoko also has the new food droid, which is an ice cream cone that has the freezer switch. I don't think that's the actual name for it, but it's essentially a freezer on, I believe, Gentro's right leg. We have not seen it yet, I don't believe.
I think you're right. I don't think we have.
Yep. Also, I forgot to put where the cold open was. I believe this is where the cold open happens. Oops. My bad.
Yes, I think.
Yeah. Because coming out of the cold open, we check in with Natsuki, as he's more or less not going to take crap from Hayame, since they are more or less in the same position in terms of hierarchy here of horoscopes, where it's just Gamao, I guess Virgo and Leo, I guess, and then Libra and Crabman. So we have some villain faction friction going forward. We check in at the Rabbit Hutch, where Jake informs us on the Kyknos' fan club of more or less, here's a bunch of people that Kyknos has saved, and now they're trying to be good people in a very cultish-like way in service of Kyknos. And maybe everyone here got the wrong idea of how to be a nice person. But yeah, all this leaves Kengo kind of upset because he doesn't get to test out Giant Foot in a normal test setting, which leads to a round of who's on first. Is the best way to describe that segment.
Yeah.
I find it weird that I keep seeing that joke in modern times. Do you know how old that joke is?
I mean, yeah.
For reference, that is an old black and white joke. Like black and white TV era joke. That is how old that joke is. And somehow it's still... I have seen the original version of that in... I don't remember if it was community college or university. It was one of the two. But I have seen the original version of that joke. It is ridiculous that it is that old and somehow has come back around and been fairly relevant in modern times. Anyway, as the club's walking with Nario and his friend assistant person who spreads feathers for him since he's cosplaying as Kyknos, find out how he ran into Kyknos, and things kind of snowballing from there of him joining the club and stuff. A totally not gust of wind from Futo, because it uses the exact same sound effect, and I think every gust of wind from here on out in Rider is using that same sound effect from Double.
I think you're right.
Blow some papers out of Asugi's hands. And the group helps out. Except for Nario, who kind of walks away because he's kind of a dick. Unfortunately, they are interrupted by Crabman, who arrives to kill Gintaro. Because he's in the mood to kill Gintaro.
This entire arc.
Yeah. Gintaro transforms to fight, and unfortunately, there is no weak point to hit on this crab. He's a bit too tough, so nothing works. And he more or less just gets his ass handed to him.
It's a hard-shelled crab.
Yeah. But Kicknose eventually revives and helps fend off Crabman, and he leaves, noting that he can't teleport, so he just runs. I love that, to be honest. But Gintaro tries to befriend Kicknose at this point, and it doesn't work because Kicknose is like, I work alone. Goodbye, and leaves. But the group eventually regroups with Nario after this. They take them to totally not the pool hall next door to the Double Detective Agency.
I was wondering. I was waiting on it.
Yeah, this is literally the pool hall next door to the Futo Detective Agency that does not exist anymore because they tore it down within the last 6 months, and it is sad to know that. Also, in this episode, like, Ryusei, in internal monologue, notes that he's like, oh, I wonder if there are other writers besides myself and Gintaro. And I'm like, I don't know if that's trying to throw the movies out of canon or not. But to be fair, you haven't met the rest of them. So I'm not sure. Anywho, inside they see the president, Misa, performing a ballet. Totally not. You can totally not make comparisons. White Swan, Black Swan. I can't remember the name of it. Comparisons, since Kicknose is the more or less the Swan Zodiart. But after she's done performing, she pretty much dunks the entire gang except Ryusei. Because he's just pretty boy to her.
Which I have to think that probably did offend him to a point too, so...
Yeah. Because Ryusei could probably take everybody in this room on his own without the driver.
Yeah. Probably with one hand behind his back, but I mean...
Yeah. But they are permitted to stay and participate in the club, and like I said, they're a bit of a cult, and they're grading their good deeds on an arbitrary point system that I don't know how it works outside of people just get various points in 5s and 10s, or in increments of 5 to 10.
Nope, because technically that's wrong.
Oh.
Because, as we saw later, the points can also go, like, super negative.
Well, yeah.
And you know, at first I was thinking, okay, well, it's all based off of, like, 5s or 10s. Until we saw the 8, and then I'm like, So this is just a arbitrary whatever number pops in this chick's head. Got it.
Yeah, she might have a few screws loose, to be honest.
Just a few?
I'm not sure.
As we find out later, by the way, she's the one that founded this cult.
Oh yeah, true. God.
I think a few might be a little bit of an understatement.
I was about to say, if she's not a prime candidate for Zodiart, I don't know who is coming out of this arc. But yeah, after some points are doled out to everyone, and Nario gets negative points, I think, this time, because he didn't do good.
Yeah, I think he just got -10 this time.
Yep. Ryusei ducks out real quick, has a quick chat with Tachibana about this whole, like, is there a good Zodiart? And Tachibana's like, no. And Ryusei's like, okay, good. I was just wondering if I needed to maybe give a shit about this guy. No? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I kind of like that. The answer that Tachibana gave him pretty much meant no, but Ryusei was like, so pretty much 0% chance on that. Got it.
And also, as I'm just kind of remembering it, because the other aspect of this is going to come back around, but no, this aspect will come around like twice, weirdly enough, in this series. So kind of remember this plot point and who also said this plot point. Just keep that in mind. Anyway, he comes back in and sees them doing a whole dance and song spiel. And Tomoko more or less wants none of this for after a little bit and wants to leave. And Ryusei is more than happy to escort her out. Misa does try to stop them, but Ryusei's like, fuck off, I don't care. And the two of them just leave. Meanwhile, Jake, timely as ever, drops by the hutch going, oh, yeah, no, Kyknos is a complete asshole and more or less beats the shit out of anyone that's against the club. So he's no hero. Thanks. You probably should have told the people not in this room that. Maybe called them, because they have cell phones. So Kengo heads out to deliver Giantfoot because, yeah, they're in trouble now.
And Giantfoot might help save them?
Kind of. So we cut to Tomoko and Ryusei as they're kind of talking. And Tomoko more or less sees directly through him and knows exactly what he's thinking because, oddly enough, Tomoko is probably the most socially aware person in this club besides Gentaro.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah. But she has some nice insight calling back to her couple of episodes with her more or less cult. It is like, yeah, this isn't good. But this is when Kyknos arrives, there to kill them. And Ryusei starts to fight Kyknos without going Meteor because he feels threatened, I guess. And is like, oh, I'm gonna fight him.
At this point, it was probably more just the instinct.
Yeah. He starts to fight him like normal and is just like, oh, right, I have a cover. I guess I will run and hope he doesn't follow me. Which maybe he should have thought of. Maybe I can pull his attention elsewhere and then maybe duck him and transform real quick and then continue to fight him.
Nah, because that would have been too much of, a plan.
Yeah, so he ends up leaving Tomoko on her own with nothing but a food droid to protect her, which the food droid does not prove very effective against him. So it is sent to go find Gentaro, the more effective person to be fighting this situation. Ryusei does get the transform and does fight Kyknos until he takes Tomoko hostage. And Ryusei's almost like, nah, fuck you. I don't care. I'll punch her. I'll punch you through her. And tries to do a Mars. Did it do it again?
Yep.
Damn it.
Yep.
Where did it cut me off?
When he tried to do a Mars.
Oh, yeah, so he tried to do his Mars punch.
Like, literally, that was the statement that got out, and then it went... So I'm like...
Yeah, he tried to do the Mars punch, and notes that he's like, I'm not as soft as Gentaro. And he tries the punch, and he stops before he hits Tomoko. And he just internally notes, it's like, fuck, I am as soft as Gentaro. I'm like, yeah, there are lines you don't cross. This is one of them. So after getting his butt kicked, Gentaro finally arrives. He fights Kyknos with the new switch from Kengo. It's effective for a little bit, and then Kyknos kind of like ducks behind him, and we kind of end the episode mid-fight, more or less. Which takes us into episode 24, Hero's Desire. Kyknos, after like kicking their butts a little bit, runs away. Ryusei takes the opportunity to also run away and de-transform, noting that he's going to whoop this sumbitch's ass. Because he is not happy that he got played by this jackass.
Nor is he happy that he got his wrist almost broke by this.
Yeah, and the one that has to hold the planet, I can't think of the actual name of it, but the planet punch selector. That's pretty much our cold open. A very quick cold open, mind you. And coming out of it, Ryusei heads back to the hutch, and before he gets in the locker, Tomoko is there to meet him, like, hey Ryusei, you left me to die. I'm going to stick the food droid on you for a little bit. And now you're also going to help me figure out what the fuck's going on. You're here to, like, you're making this up to me. And she even compliments Meteor to his face. Which I don't know if it's meant to be a dig at him, because she might know, or is just the asshole that doesn't like us was more willing to help me than you. Way to go.
You know, I almost wonder, though, if at this point she might have already had suspicions.
Like I said, she's the most socially aware besides Gentaro, and at this point I wouldn't be surprised that she knew to some degree.
Because I almost feel like that was way too played to it be like a, you know, I don't know, but I'm gonna just say this kind of deal.
Yeah. So after the club regroups, Kentaro's going to go off to investigate Misa, because she's more or less prime suspect now on who Kyknos is for Kyknos. Meanwhile, we see a quick scene of Natsuki trying to coax a student into taking a Zodiac switch, only for Hayame to interrupt it and go, hey, shithead, you still have to follow my orders. Go guard Kyknos so he doesn't get blown up. Please. Before I take you to town. You little shit. But we check in with Tomoko as Ryusei is following her around to various locations that Kyknos has been, and she tries using some fancy witchcraft to pick up some vibes and try to solve the mystery that way. None of it works, mind you. I love how she is supposed to have psychic powers, but they haven't really came into play that much.
Yeah.
But we do see Nario is once more chewed out for being a dick by the club. That will be important here in a bit. Because Gentaro shows up, tries to pin Misa as the Zodiart, Except we find out, no, she was saved by the Zodiac as well as everyone else, meaning everybody has an alibi. Uh-oh. Our suspect pool just shrunk to 0. So Gentro and Yuki, who's been tagging along with Gentro, get kicked out. They end up with Nario at a... I can't think of the proper name for this place because it's in Persona 5 in Yakuza. So I should know the name of this kind of place. Like a pitching center? Like a baseball pitching center? There is some word for it, and I can't think of it. Can you?
I can't think of the name right offhand either.
Yeah, but they're talking to Nario and like trying to figure things out, and he like spills that like Misa was also saved by Kicknose, so like again we're out of suspects. And he even like gives a bit of his backstory of like, oh, he always wanted to be a hero, and he actually witnessed Gentro fight Lynx, I believe. And I believe this is also new footage. This is not reused footage from the Lynx episodes. But Natsuki soon arrives, scares off Nario, and proceeds to try to kill Gentro again. So Gentro has to fight off Crabman once more, while Ryusei and Tomoko come across Nario where he met Kicknose and get the last piece they need as we supposedly see Nario getting beat up by Kicknose. Except there will be more to that, as we'll find out.
Yeah.
Anyway, Natsuki plays around with Gentro for a while before leaving, and the group's back at the hutch, minus Ryusei and Tomoko, trying to figure out what to do since they're out of leads. But Ryusei drops by and shows them the footage, and they soon put a plan together. And it leads to Gentro contacting Nario and getting him to have a walk and talk with him through the park, past various more or less contrived situations with the club members in disguise of trying to get him to do a good deed, and he does none of them until he sees a little girl with a balloon stuck in a tree, and he gets the balloon out of the tree for her. The little girl is actually Yuki. I also love how Gentro also doesn't help in any of these, only because they are contrived situations. Because he wants this guy to step up himself and do it.
Yeah, that is kind of the thing. And I love the fact that when he's questioned about why he isn't helping, he's like, don't really want to.
It's like some American is like lost, and he's like, well, my English isn't good, which is true. that will be extremely true in a few episodes and lead to a really great comedy moment. And it has also been previously established. But all the others is like, it's not really my problem and stuff. But Nario does do it, and the club more or less use that as a way to encourage him to give up the Switch, because we find out that he's more or less got a split personality that was created by the Switch. And Kicknose is more or less his darker half, his paradox, his whatever you want to call it at this point. Because they do use the same type of filming setup for Emu and Paradox from kind of the midway through build. Or not. Wow. Why did I say build?
That's the wrong show.
That is extremely the wrong show. But yeah, like partway through Xaid, they kind of use the same framing device, like shot-wise. But the encouragement does get him to almost give up the Switch and be ready to give it up. and he does the handshake with Gentaro. But unfortunately, Crabman arrives and says, fuck that. No, we are getting a final fight scene for this episode. Get over here. So he grabs him and runs him back to the cult with the president now in a black version of her ballet outfit from earlier. Now force him to become Kyknos. Also of note, his switch went last one during this whole encouragement scene. So it was already last one when he got dumped by the cult, dumped back at the cult. But Gentaro soon arrives and proceeds to fight Kyknos, only for him to take Naria hostage. But he uses a combo of switches to get her away and tries to fight Kyknos, only for Crabman to arrive and say, no, Gentaro, you're not fighting him this week. He is not your kill this week. You're fighting me. Leads to Ryusei fighting off Kyknos and more or less demolishing him in 5 seconds flat. So Kyknos is destroyed. Gentaro makes quick work of Crabman by more or less roasting his ass, quite literally, with fire states, sending him packing. And the group gets to celebrate at the end as Nario's on the right path now. He's cosplaying as Gentaro, as Fourze, and is helping some old lady across the street. It's nice of him to start with the basics. And the cult has also been disbanded because, yeah, we're gonna get rid of that right now. And that is it. So how'd you feel about these 2 episodes?
I kind of like the fact that they are showing that these switches can do more kind of deal than what we've been led to believe anyhow. It's one of those, though, I almost kind of wish we would have gotten a little bit more of a explanation as to how stuff like that can happen and if there's more potential for it.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, since apparently this is basically split personality concept, could that also mean that using that principle they could have one person be able to use 2 or 3 switches even?
We will come back to that. I'm
more meaning within this same concept anyhow.
Yeah. We're going to come back to that kind of concept kind of later on.
But it's one of those that it's like, you can tell this is kind of a learning experience for some of them too.
Yeah.
But you know it's not going to be that cut and dry either.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm like, I would like not necessarily a full-on explanation of how this is going on, but maybe a little more information of like, is this a thing we're gonna see in a bigger scale later?
Oddly enough, like, any questions you have related to Kyknos, yes, weirdly enough.
But I feel like the show doesn't bother to say that, and it's like,
Yeah, that I'm only saying that from hindsight because I'm like, oh yeah, there's several things. Unfortunately, they're all from more or less the tail end of the series. And I do mean the tail end of the series, like the last handful or so of episodes. when spoilers, we are going to be jamming through horoscopes because
I was gonna say, so when we get to the point where we're desperate, kind of deal.
Yeah, when we need to jam through horoscopes real quick because we didn't pace them properly. So yeah, that's
it's just one of those that I'm like, it would have been nice to get that little bit of, even if it was a teaser kind of deal, like, ooh, we might come back to this. This worked out like we wanted it to, kind of deal. But I mean, overall, it was good. It kind of shows that different side that we haven't seen for these Switches.
Yeah. And it gives some development to Ryusei. Kind of showing that, like...
And puts us ever so closer to actually getting his reveal.
Yeah, because we are 2 batches away from that. Because next batch, meaning next week, we're getting his form change in the final episode. Yeah, we are getting Meteor Storm next week, along with the exit of Crabman. He did not last long.
I mean, to be fair, he didn't need to.
No. He is here and gone. Much like the next one. Yeah, the next batch we'll see Shun and Miyu graduate, kind of, question mark. I don't think they graduate properly just yet, but they are on the way out as, I wouldn't say regulars, but as students of the school, and more become just regular people that are still a part of the club. Because at some point we'll be getting some actual new club members. But that's later on. I think this also lines up with them probably like de-emphasizing the Power Dizer because yeah, we can't blow the budget on him too much. So that kind of removes Shun's importance on the show, which is why, you know, we haven't talked about Shun and Miyu too much over the course of these last few episodes.
Yeah, it's one of those, I feel like, in all seriousness, if Fourze had the budget that apparently 01 has, because I swear there's more CGI already than I would have expected.
Yeah.
Then we probably would have saw things go different with the Power
Dizer. We've been seeing that more.
Like, that seems weird that 01 has just kind of been that bigger budgeted, it feels like.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went, oh, we want to start this new era, right? So we're going to up the budget on Ryder. That probably isn't true. It's more just been used sparingly.
I mean, they might have. Because, like, I guess it's not as prevalent, but it is a lot more than a lot of shows, and it's been holding out far longer.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that's got me, is it's like, when is this gonna actually quit? And is it still gonna be as good for form changes when we go away from this part of it?
Yeah. Well, from what we've seen so far, yes, it will be good. At least for the form changes looks-wise.
But yeah, it makes me kind of wonder how much different the Powerdizer would have wound up being if it had a bigger budget, or at least been done similar to how 01 is being done. Because I feel like that's probably bigger budget for 01.
Yeah. But anywho, if you've liked what you've seen on the show, drop us a follow. We really appreciate it. We're working our way towards that 200 follower goal. If we hit affiliate, we'll do those goals as well. I'm not sure how much closer we are to affiliate.
Still the viewers for the most part.
Yeah, I was thinking like we're about at the same point as we normally are on that one. Last time I pay attention to the stats, because I've been weirdly ignoring them. I hop on the stat page and forget to check that part. Even though I have to scroll past it. But yeah, we have the Discord, !Discord. We have a Dropbox, essentially, for questions. We will answer them on the relevant podcast, either here on TGS, which happened yesterday. So if you got game questions, we'll answer it on there. If you got writer questions, we'll answer it here, along with, I guess, any other like TV movie-esque question. I don't know. I don't know. Depends on the question. We'll answer it, like I said, at the relevant podcast. At TG Saloon on Twitter is where to go to see when we go live. You'll see a tweet when we go live on there, so you don't miss out.
Or, you could hit that follow button up there.
Yep. Got that too.
That one that's got the heart up there.
Yep. Don't forget to make sure that bell's on.
In case you forgot where they're at like the top right above the player if you're on a computer, or I believe down below if you're on mobile.
Yep.
So, yeah.
This next week, we'll see more Transformers, more Fire Emblem, some more fun co-op multiplayer stuff on the weekend, with us coming back to Fourze next Sunday. So that'll do it for Tommy and myself. Peace. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.